Chapter 41, Cutting Out the Roots, My Master Taught Me. You are listening at Overfulfilled.audio. These stones were loaded with magic tricks by Ye Chen. All they had to do was toss them, and boom. The power packed into those things. Enough to make even void refining stage masters sweat. Gu Yingluo, not holding back one bit, started chucking stones like she was seeding a field. Bang, bang, bang. Each stone exploded in mid-air, unleashing the power bottled inside, and every stone was different. Some contained wicked sword energy, others packed a punch with overbearing palm techniques. Some had unbreakable spiritual power, others, shields that could stop anything, basically, a grab bag of insane magic, all seriously powerful. Boom! A burst of sword energy ripped through the air, aimed right at the Jinyu sect disciples and elders below, leaving a trail of carnage. It even carved a crater in the ground, dozens of feet wide. Whoosh! A wind, so cold it burned, blasted from another stone. The black-tinged gale froze anyone it touched into human-shaped ice sculptures. Crash! A tidal wave appeared out of nowhere, slamming into the crowd and leaving people coughing up blood and dying in droves. And it just kept coming. Hit by wave after wave of these crazy, unpredictable attacks, the Jinyu sect plunged into utter chaos. Forget the low-level disciples, even Golden Core, Nascent Soul, and Transformation Stage cultivators didn't stand a chance when these attacks came their way, because this was Ye Chen's special delivery for his two disciples. If these guys could handle what Ye Chen cooked up, he'd go find a job tightening bolts in a factory. The fear of death turned them into a mob, running every which way, screaming for their moms, just complete and utter panic. Help me, elder. Somebody, please. Damn it. I'm a god stage and I can't even save my own skin. How am I supposed to save you? Get out of here. You're dead if you stay. They're insane. Completely lost it. How can two Golden Core guys wreck the entire Jinyu sect? Who gave them these weapons? That everyone was yelling like lunatics, begging for help, but in this kind of mess, if you're not getting trampled, you're doing okay. Forget about someone saving you. What were they thinking? Besides, the elders were all up to their necks in trouble. A transformation stage monk shot into the sky, trying to bail on the sect and escape the madness, but he slammed right into a solid barrier. Damn it, the sect protecting formation. Who the heck turned on the sect protecting formation? Now we're all locked in. The sect is doomed. Crap, turn off the formation now. Too late. They were trapped, no way out. Like turtles in a jar, they were stuck in this space, waiting to be slaughtered. Ye Chen went ballistic seeing the Jinyu sect descend into chaos, bodies piling up thanks to Gu Yingluo. Nobody ever dared to come at them this hard. And what really made him want to puke was that he'd ordered the formation raised to trap Mu Yan and Gu Yingluo, so they could steal their inheritance, and they just trapped themselves. Take them down. Ye Chen roared, pointing at Mu Yan and Gu Yingluo. The remaining Jinyu sect fighters knew they were stuck. Instead of running around like chickens with their heads cut off, they figured they'd go after the source of the problem, so, the surviving disciples and elders, all full of murderous intent, charged towards the two figures in the sky. They had to be stopped. Even the two void refining stage powerhouses jumped into the fray, heading straight for Mu Yan and Gu Yingluo. They knew these two had some tricks, but they had numbers. They didn't believe these two could wipe them all out. They were underestimating Mu Yan and Gu Yingluo. Gu Yingluo reached in and pulled out another handful of stones, tossing them out like candy. Boom! A fresh wave of explosions ripped through the air, unleashing one magic technique after another, tearing the attackers to shreds. Overconfident, one of the void refining stage fighters, relying on his speed, closed in on Mu Yan and threw a punch. The force of the blow detonated, turning into an energy dragon that whipped up a storm. The punch alone could take down someone of equal strength, but Mu Yan was ready. He grinned and chucked another fistful of stones. When they exploded, sword energy, finger strikes, palm prints, punches, beams of light, dozens of attacks swarmed the void refining stage fighter all at once, and then, without a shred of mercy, pulverized him. The other void refining stage master had been charging in to finish Mu Yan, but seeing that made him freeze, he knew he wasn't going to fare any better than his buddy. Best play is to shut down the formation and get out of here, that while no one was watching, he ducked into the crowd, looking for a way to survive. He was an elder, making a fortune every month, why was he going to die for this sect? Jin Ruetian was beyond furious. His hair flew around his head, and he radiated an aura of pure rage, like a volcano about to erupt. "I'll kill you," that he screamed, transforming into a giant rock, hurtling towards Mu Yan and Gu Yingluo with overwhelming force, and he didn't forget to snatch a few hundred of his own sect members out of the air, using them as shields, that'd keep him safe. "You shameless old man! How low can you go? You're the kind of leader who deserves to be kicked to the curb," that the sect members panicked and started cursing. They couldn't believe this old goat was using them as a meat shield. "You're so strong, so noble, you work so hard for the sect, but what about us?" Mu Yan wasn't about to start caring just because Jin Ruetian was a jerk. He unloaded another volley of stones without hesitation. They exploded, unleashing a raging ocean, searing flames, brutal sword energy and more, wiping out the human shields in a heartbeat. Jin Ruetian took a beating until he was coughing up blood, unable to defend himself. He'd been so sure of himself, thinking he could crush these two golden core guys. Now he couldn't even put up a fight. Seeing another handful of stones in Mu Yan's hand, he finally understood that this was it. He was going down. "Please. Spare me. I was wrong. I was blinded by greed, I shouldn't have hurt you. I deserve this." Jin Ruetian, barely alive, knelt on the ground, coughing blood and begging for his life. He was terrified. Mu Yan looked down at him, cold eyes filled with contempt. "Master taught us, waiting for death is not our style. We attacked the mountain gate, that means we're here to wipe you out," that if they didn't take care of business, how would they explain it to Master? Jin Ruetian latched onto the word master and asked, shocked, "Who's your master?" "Maybe I know him." Hearing that he still thought he could pull some strings, Mu Yan laughed. You're not worthy to know my master. Not in this life, not in the next. Not ever." Then Mu Yan raised his hand and smashed several stones. The magic exploded, and the horrifying power completely destroyed Jin Ruetian, a void refining stage master. Having done that, Mu Yan remembered his master's teachings and systematically combed through the entire Jinyu sect. Any stragglers got a stone to the face. After half a day, the Jinyu sect was silent. Peace at last. Chapter 42, Overfulfilled, Reward Doubled. You are listening at novelfull.audio. "Brother Mu Yan, we did it." Gu Yingluo sighed in relief, still in disbelief as she looked at the wreckage of the Jinyu sect. This once untouchable powerhouse was now reduced to rubble, all thanks to them. It all started when they met their master. He completely changed their lives, giving them everything they now possessed. Mu Yan asked, "Yingluo, did you scramble the egg yolks?" Yingluo nodded eagerly. "Yep. I even cut the earthworms in half." Mu Yan nodded with satisfaction. "Perfect. Just as Master taught them." He was sure Master would be pleased. As they strolled away from the mountain gate, they heard a dog barking, "Woof. Woof." Mu Yan pointed at the dog's nose and snapped, "What are you barking at?" "Huh. What's your problem?" He then kicked the mutt twice, scaring it so badly that it whimpered and ran down the mountain. Forever traumatized by the encounter, the commotion at the Jinyu sect had attracted attention, even from the base of the mountain, but since the sect's gate was off-limits to regular folks, they could only watch from afar. After a long wait, they saw a young man and woman descending. Their cultivation levels weren't that high, only at the golden core stage. Could they be disciples of the Jinyu sect? But that didn't seem right. Jinyu sect disciples were required to wear uniforms, and these two definitely didn't look the part. It wasn't until hours later that the onlookers finally dared to venture up the mountain. What they found was unbelievable. The once grand Jinyu sect was now a wasteland. Calling it a mess was an understatement. It looked like it had been flooded, burned, and otherwise destroyed in every way imaginable. Corpses were scattered everywhere, turning the area into a landscape of death. The sight sent shivers down their spines, and they collapsed to their knees in terror. This is hell. Pure hell. Oh my God. The Jinyu sect has been massacred. Is everyone dead? Wasn't their leader supposed to be a void refining stage expert? Is he gone too? Duh. If he was still around, would he let this happen to his sect? Their minds reeled. The Jinyu sect was known for its power and arrogance, something no ordinary person would dare to provoke. Yet now, the entire sect was practically leveled. It was clear someone with immense power had gone on a rampage. Could those two golden core kids have been responsible? Impossible, right? Could a couple of golden core nobodies really take down a whole sect? It was insane to even think about it. But aside from them, nobody else had been seen going in or out of the Jinyu sect. As Mu Yen and Gu Yingluo departed, news of the Jinyu sect's demise spread like wildfire. Have you heard? The Jinyu sect's been wiped out. Nothing but corpses and ashes. It's a total bloodbath. You're kidding, right? The Jinyu sect. Taken down. Are you out of your mind? I'm serious. People have already gone up to see it. What reason would I have to lie? No way. Isn't their leader a void refining big shot? Who's got the guts to wipe out his whole sect? Rumor has it that only a young couple came out, and everyone suspects they were the ones who did it, that the story was all over the nearby towns. At first, nobody believed it. But as more and more people confirmed the rumors, shock turned to disbelief. This once mighty sect was gone. Many people cheered, hailing the perpetrators as heroes who had rid the world of a pest. Whoever did this deserves a medal. The Jinyu sect's young master used to rape girls. A friend's daughter was taken, tortured, and then her body was dumped. Now the Jinyu sect is getting what they deserve. Serves them right. Those guys were so arrogant. A few disciples robbed me of my family's martial arts secrets and beat my father half to death. He's been bedridden ever since. This calls for a celebration. Time to crack open an extra bottle of wine. Whoever did this, I'm raising a glass to you. That the news brought a sense of satisfaction to those who had suffered at the hands of the Jinyu sect. Nothing was more thrilling than hearing about their downfall. With that cancer gone, the world felt a whole lot better. It was awesome. Some of those who had been severely wronged wept with joy, kneeling to thank the mysterious heroes. The Gu family heard the news immediately. The report of the Jinyu sect's bloody demise sent shockwaves through the family. They couldn't believe it. That was the Jinyu sect, a force they wouldn't dare to cross. Just a few of their elders could crush the entire Gu family. And now they were gone. Could Mu Yen and Yingluo have done this? Patriarch Gu's head was spinning. They were the only two from their family who had joined the Jinyu sect. Plus, witnesses had reported seeing a young couple leaving the mountain. It had to be Mu Yen and Yingluo. But how could two golden core cultivators possibly take down such a powerhouse? The evidence was overwhelming. Incredible as it seemed, it was the only explanation. Then it hit him. Both Yingluo and Mu Yen had mentioned their master and their sect. The master must be the key. Otherwise, where would those two kids get the power and confidence? Who is this master of Yingluo's? To take out a void refining stage sect through two mere disciples. The more Patriarch Gu thought about it, the more awestruck he became. Then, joy filled his heart. His daughter and son-in-law had both become disciples of this mysterious powerhouse. Their future was set. He kept quiet about his family's involvement in the Jinyu sect's destruction. Still, some sharp observers pieced together the clues and realized the Gu family was somehow connected. Immediately, families came out of the woodwork to suck up to the Gu family and establish good relationships. Even those who had previously been at odds with the Gu family showed up with gifts and apologies, singing their praises. Overnight, the Gu family became the most influential in the region. Meanwhile, back at Kunlun Holy Land, the system immediately alerted Ye Chen when Mu Yan and Gu Luo completed their mission. Notification: the task has been overcompleted, doubling the reward. Host, please claim your prize. Chapter 43 Lord of the Holy Land. It's just a maid, you can kill her at will. You are listening at Overfulfilled.audio. Knocked it out so fast. And still over quota? Not bad at all. Ye Chen was stoked when he got the news. His two protégés were finally pulling their weight. He wasn't sweating at letting those two golden core level disciples flatten some 2-bit sect. Besides the enchanted stones, he also slipped Zhang Laosi, the outer sect elder, into the mix for backup. With Zhang Laosi packing true immortal heat, how could Mu Yan and Gu Luo possibly screw things up? Now, what kind of goodies did he score for blowing the assignment out of the water? Reward: an alchemy pavilion. Reward: 1,000,000 pill recipes. Reward: 1,000 immortal-grade alchemy furnaces. Reward: fantasy staircase. Reward: monument of destiny. 5 rewards. Sweet. Ye Chen was pretty happy with the haul. What caught his eye was how many of them were tied to potion brewing. Was the system hinting he should go into the magical cooking business? The alchemy digs, the mountain of recipes, and the pro-level furnaces were no-brainers, all about getting the sect ready to cook up some potions down the line. The trippy stairs and the destiny rock, though, needed a little more unpacking. The fantasy stairs were a trip, dropping folks into dreamscapes to test their mental fortitude, perfect for sniffing out weak-willed disciples or some mole trying to infiltrate the sect. The destiny monument was straight up, a talent detector for recruits. The bigger the potential, the brighter the signal from the rock. These two go together like peanut butter and jelly for future recruiting. The illusion stairs alone will weed out a bunch of the wannabes. Ye Chen was digging it. Even if Kunlun Holy Land was just him and a few stragglers right now, he'd grow it into the biggest, baddest outfit in the world. He couldn't personally handpick every newbie. Mass recruiting talent and beefing up the roster was the way to go. After mentally filing away the new toys, Ye Chen turned to Holy Lord Xiaoyue, who was cowering nearby like a scared kitten. Xiaoyue, brew me some tea, Ye Chen ordered, all casual. Holy Lord Xiaoyue nearly blew a gasket. If she hadn't been stripped of her immortal mojo, she'd have slapped him silly. If only she could break the seal and get her powers back. Catching her drift, Ye Chen said, so what if you got your powers back? You really think you could take me? Holy Lord Xiaoyue was spooked that he could read her mind. She hadn't said a word. How did he know? Just as she was freaking out, Ye Chen casually dropped, I can see everything you're thinking. Why wouldn't I be able to tell what's going on in the head of one little fairy? You can really read my mind. This time, Holy Lord Xiaoyue was officially rattled. She was, after all, a top-tier Huangxian. Even with her powers on lockdown, her core essence was still there, reading the mind of a Huangxian. Next to impossible. At least, she'd never heard of it, but Ye Chen had nailed her inner thoughts twice, proving he really could do it. And dead on, too, creepy. This guy was seriously scary. Seeing her jaw drop, Ye Chen grinned and said, I can see the whole world, a little fairy like you is nothing. That set Holy Lord Xiaoyue's brain buzzing. Huangxian. At her level, she'd be calling the shots anywhere, especially since the big guys weren't around. Huangxian was the top of the food chain. But here she was, a powerhouse who could run the show in the desolate immortal world, being dismissed as a nothing. You. Holy Lord Xiaoyue was shook, her chest heaving, showing off a pair of bouncy snow globes. Then she remembered how he'd casually yoinked her through space. There was no need to explain his power, he'd done that from Xiaoyue Holy Land, one of the strongest powers, a place where immortal lords and even immortal kings go to get their meditation on. He could pull off something like that. How strong was this dude? Then you dare break the seal on me? Holy Lord Xiaoyue laid down a challenge. Ye Chen saw right through her. She thought getting her powers back meant she could bolt. How cute. Kunlun Holy Land wasn't some revolving door, not even for her. Ye Chen shrugged. What if I did unlock you? But with that, he popped the seal, she felt power surge back into her, an empowering rush, a surge of energy shot out. The majesty and arrogance of a holy lord returned, she raised her chin, looking down at Ye Chen. But the moment she thought she was back on top, Ye Chen's icy stare turned her blood to ice, it was so cold and brutal. She knew, deep down, that if she even looked at him wrong, she'd be toast. Ye Chen lounged back in his chair and said, "Remember one thing. I brought you back without killing you because the sect's full of knuckle-draggers, and I need a maid. If you can't even handle that, you're useless." His voice was casual, without even a hint of malice, just stating a fact, but Holy Lord Xiaoyue felt a chill run down her spine, raising goosebumps. She didn't dare doubt that her life was on the line if she didn't scrub up. Yes, yes. Holy Lord Xiaoyue was pale and defeated. From now on, she was Xiaoyue, not Holy Lord Xiaoyue. "Xiaoyue, go pick tea leaves and make tea." With his orders given, Ye Chen shut his eyes to chill. It was nice having a maid. He could just lie back and be waited on. "Okay, master." Xiaoyue seemed to be adjusting, though calling someone sect leader still felt weird. Leaving the room, Xiaoyue suddenly thought of Immortal Siming back at her holy land. Wait, Senior Immortal Siming is a master of divination. Surely, he can figure out I'm here and send someone to rescue me, right? Little did she know that back in Xiaoyue Holy Land, Immortal Siming was sweating buckets. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't pick up her trail. Relying on divination to save her? Forget about it. Stepping outside, she noticed that the air here felt different. Chapter 44. Xiaoyue was shocked. This is a holy land. You are listening at Overfulfilled. Previously, her immortal powers were bound, cutting her off from sensing the outside world. Now, she finally realized the spiritual energy here was unbelievably rich, even more so than Xiaoyue Holy Land. Just what is this place? How can the aura be this strong? Even our forbidden zone in the back mountains isn't this crazy. Xiaoyue was speechless, her jaw practically hitting the floor. The aura in a holy land was already ridiculously potent. Holy lands were meticulously cultivated by masters, even the Immortal Emperor, constantly improved over countless years. They were the ultimate blessed locations. It's no exaggeration to say that ordinary folks with zero talent, living on the outskirts of the Holy Land, could reach the chi refining or even foundation building stage in their lifetime. That's because the overwhelming spiritual energy constantly washes over them, despite their lack of training or talent. They can't help but get stronger. But what floored her was how this place had a higher concentration of spiritual energy than Xiaoyue Holy Land, the best training ground around. Could it be she'd left the Huangxian world behind? Maybe this was an even stronger world. The thought sent a jolt of panic through Xiaoyue. No way, right? There's no way he could just snatch me across entire worlds. Even an Immortal Emperor isn't that powerful. Xiaoyue's entire worldview was teetering. As a Holy Land leader, she believed she was among the most powerful beings in the desolate immortal world, definitely one of the most knowledgeable. But now, she was lost. She couldn't wrap her head around what was happening, or where she was. As she struggled to process the situation, a man appeared before her. "Xiaoyue, the sect master has ordered me to take you to pick tea." It was Bai Long, an Immortal King. Ever since Ye Chen summoned him, Bai Long had been quietly watching over the Kunlun Holy Land. Now, he was following the sect master's orders to escort Xiaoyue to the tea garden. Xiaoyue snapped back to reality, her thoughts focused on the man who'd appeared so suddenly. He was no ordinary person. To appear silently before her meant he was stronger. Xiaoyue was alarmed. Why was everyone here better than her? It made her, a Huangxian-level powerhouse, feel insignificant. She could accept the sect master being stronger, but who was this guy? "I'm Bai Long. You can call me Elder Bai Long." Bai Long spoke in a cold, formal tone. "Elder Bai Long? Where is this place?" Xiaoyue asked cautiously. Bai Long seemed to frown, annoyed by her cluelessness. Still, he answered, considering she was the sect master's maid, "This is the Kunlun Holy Land." "Kunlun Holy Land?" Xiaoyue shook her head. I mean, are we still in the Huangxian world? Bailong nearly face-bombed at her stupidity, but remembering her connection to the sect master, he held his tongue. Of course this is the desolate immortal world. Where else would it be? Hearing that they were still in the desolate immortal world, Xiaoyue secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, good, at least it wasn't as insane as she imagined. But what kind of power was the Kunlun Holy Land? It seemed even grander and more powerful than Xiaoyue Holy Land, right? Was it some hidden holy land that only recently revealed itself to the world? Her mind was buzzing with questions, but Bailong didn't give her a chance to ask them. He simply led her towards the tea. Let's go. The tea trees are a ways off. I prefer peace and quiet, Bailong said, leading the way with a terse reminder. Xiaoyue was seething. After arriving in this strange place, her status had plummeted. Now she was a maid, taking orders from everyone. Just what realm are you in? Xianxian. Or Immortal Lord? Xiaoyue subtly unleashed her spiritual sense, attempting to gauge Bailong's true power. She was at the peak of the mysterious immortal realm, and as a Holy Land leader, she was naturally gifted. The strength of her spiritual sense could rival masters of the same level, even surpassing those newly entered into the Immortal Lord realm. But as she confidently probed Bailong, she was shocked to find that her power vanished like a pebble dropped into the ocean, creating no ripple. That's weird. Xiaoyue's heart pounded just as she considered a second attempt. Bailong's cold voice cut through the air. No need to test me. I'm in the Immortal King realm. I don't mind telling you. Xiaoyue was stunned, especially by Bailong's casual reveal. Immortal King realm? That was a super powerful rank, second only to the Immortal Emperor. Even Xiaoyue Holy Land didn't have many immortal kings, and most of them were in seclusion, training hard. At that level, the most important thing was understanding the world, grasping the rules, and seeking the opportunity to become an immortal emperor. And here was an immortal king in the Kunlun Holy Land. Just what was this force? Why did it seem to have a deeper foundation than Xiaoyue Holy Land? Filled with doubts and apprehension, Xiaoyue followed Bailong towards the back mountains. The moment she stepped into the back mountains, a wave of even stronger spiritual energy washed over her. The aura was so dense that even she, a Xianxian powerhouse, was taken aback. Energy. It was all energy. Xiaoyue instinctively parted her lips, wanting to inhale more of the spiritual energy, but then remembered Bailong by her side and awkwardly composed herself. What's wrong with me? I'm supposed to be the Holy Land leader, with status and dignity, yet I keep losing my cool here. That she was mortified, feeling as if the authority she'd built up over tens of thousands of years as the Xiaoyue sect leader had completely vanished. She couldn't help herself. This place was too incredible. The spiritual energy was unbelievably rich. The tea trees are here. Picking tea is simple enough, so I don't need to show you, Bailong said, almost as if talking to himself. Using such a rare treasure to grow tea trees. Just for tea. Isn't that a total waste? Xiaoyue thought to herself, if Xiaoyue Holy Land had a place like this, she'd be training like a madwoman. Not just her, even the immortal lords and immortal king elders would be beside themselves. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she would have thought she was dreaming. Filled with wonder and regret, Xiaoyue followed Bailong's gesture towards the tea trees. When she finally saw the tea trees, she froze, stiff as a board. Chapter 45, Subverted Worldview. Xiaoyue is stupid. You are listening at Novelful.audio. What she saw wasn't just any old tea tree, it was an enlightenment tea tree. The shock hit her hard, making her question if it was even real. This was the legendary enlightenment tea tree, one of the most prized spiritual roots in existence, incredibly rare in the whole Huangxian world. Could it really be? Xiaoyue totally lost it, abandoning any semblance of the dignity and poise expected of Holy Lord Xiaoyue. She practically stumbled toward the enlightenment tea tree. Bailong watched, unconcerned. As long as she didn't damage the tree, he wouldn't interfere. The enlightenment tea tree stood 10 feet tall, boasting a thick trunk, abundant branches, and vibrant green leaves, a picture of vitality. Mystical Taoist runes swirled around it, looking like a cloud of butterflies. Each tea leaf displayed unique, natural Tao markings, making every single one distinct. Within 10 feet of the tree, her mind became incredibly clear. At her advanced level, solving cultivation principles was difficult. The deeper you go, the closer to the world's essence and the origin of the great Tao, the harder it gets to grasp. But now, her mind was sharper than ever. Inspirations collided, sparking even more insights. Long-standing confusions unraveled, and she suddenly understood. So, that's why I've been stuck, unable to advance to Immortal Lord. My understanding of the practices had drifted off course. No wonder I haven't made progress in ages. Xiaoyue grew excited, sensing a brighter path ahead. With continued comprehension, she could finally ascend to the Immortal Lord realm. She began laughing, then crying, a whirlwind of emotions. Bai Long, seeing she was lost in her own world, grumbled, "The sect master wants tea picked, not a crying and laughing fit. Get to work." Snapping out of her enlightened state, Xiaoyue, though a bit disgruntled, dared not protest. She felt that if she could stay immersed in that enlightenment for 10 years, her promotion to the Immortal Lord realm would be assured. Even short bursts of enlightenment each day would accumulate. Picking it now. I'll get right to it. Xiaoyue dropped all complaints. Serving as a maid here seemed acceptable. Following Bailong's instructions, she carefully picked enough tea leaves and turned back. As she glanced at the tea leaves in the basket, Xiaoyue was still buzzing from the experience. How could such a massive enlightenment tea tree exist in Kunlun Holy Land? She couldn't resist asking Bai Long, "Elder Bai Long, this is the enlightenment tea tree, right? Why is it here in Kunlun Holy Land?" Bai Long looked at her as if she were daft. "Why shouldn't the enlightenment tea tree be here? I mean, as far as I know, there's only one enlightenment tea tree in the Huangxian world. There can't be a second one. The enlightenment tea tree is way off in central China, growing in a wild, restricted zone. Even holy landlords can't go in and just pick tea leaves." Xiaoyue's excitement grew. Had Bailong not been an immortal king, she might have grabbed him by the collar. She'd once attended a feast in central China where holy masters volunteered to pick tea leaves in the restricted area. They struggled, fending off attacks from unknown creatures, just to bring back 3 enlightenment tea leaves. Picking was hard enough, transplanting a whole enlightenment tea tree was impossible. That's why seeing the whole tree was such a shock. Seeing her flustered again, Bailong sighed. "It's just a tea tree. Who says there's only one? Besides, with the sect master's abilities, anything's possible." He didn't concern himself with such trivialities. The sect leader was the most powerful in the world, and Kunlun Holy Land the strongest sect. These wonders were expected. Bailong's response left Xiaoyue speechless. Just an enlightenment tea tree. Was he kidding? People would kill for a single leaf, but they had an entire tree. Unbelievable. If the world knew, even holy lands would storm the place. Still, she agreed with Bailong's admiration for the sect leader. He looked young, but he was clearly ancient. How else could he be so powerful? Xiaoyue swallowed her protests, and meekly agreed, based on its size, it's not like the one in central China. She'd seen that one from afar. It was only 5 feet tall. Kunlun Holy Land's tree was twice that size, and far more lush and robust. The sect leader truly had unparalleled skills. Obtaining a second tree. Passing the spiritual plant garden, Xiaoyue took a curious peek. That one glance led to an astounding discovery. The soil was a deep red, like it had been soaked in blood, yet there was no smell. It had to be red blood Immortal Land. She rushed over, scooped up a handful, and examined it. It was, indeed, the precious soil. Red blood fairyland. Luoyue Holy Land had just 10 acres of it. Plants in the red blood immortal soil grew quickly and abundantly. Only the rarest treasures were worthy of being planted in it. Kunlun Holy Land had it too. She looked around in disbelief. The boundary was out of sight. How much red-blooded fairy land did they have? Chapter 46. The Holy Land of Divine Alchemy, the Top Alchemist. You are listening at Overfulfilled. Audio. A million acres. Bai Long knew she was about to pepper him with questions the moment he saw her speechless shock, so, he cut her off at the pass, answering the question he knew was brewing. Xiaoyue's head snapped around, a look of pure horror on her face, like he'd suddenly sprouted horns. 1 million acres, that she couldn't believe her ears. Back in Xiaoyue Holy Land, a measly 10 acres was considered a treasure. A million? It was a figure she'd never even dared dream of, never imagined any sect actually possessed that much red-blood fairy land. Yet here it was, a reality staring her in the face. Millions of acres of red-blood fairy land. Just thinking about it was enough to drive someone nuts. Didn't that mean you could plant practically anything you wanted? Let's go. Don't keep the sect leader waiting, Bai Long urged, a little impatiently. Finally snapping out of it, Xiaoyue followed him back to the main hall, still reeling. She was a different person now. Before, she'd only submitted to Ye Chen's power grudgingly, her mind constantly plotting an escape. But after Bai Long's little tour, that thought had vanished. A sect with off-the-chart spiritual energy, a whole enlightenment tea tree, 1 million acres of red-blood fairy soil, and an immortal king in charge. It was paradise. She wouldn't dream of leaving. If she stayed and got lucky enough to snag a sip of tea now and then, she'd be set for life. Breaking through to the Immortal Lord realm would be a cinch. She had complete faith in her potential. After all, she'd been a prodigy once. She brewed the tea with extra care, the fragrant wisps making her feel invigorated. When Ye Chen wasn't looking, she snuck a few sips. Ah! Amazing! Her eyes were glued to the cup in Ye Chen's hand, fantasizing about the sect leader taking pity on her and offering a taste. But Ye Chen wasn't about to share. Was a maid even worthy of drinking with the master? What was she even thinking? Just as disappointment began to creep in, Ye Chen suddenly asked, which sect in the Huangxian world specializes in elixir refining? Reporting to the sect master, that would be the Divine Pill Holy Land. It was founded by the Immortal Emperor of Divine Alchemy. They only accept disciples with alchemy talent, and they all follow the path of the elixir. Xiaoyue's tone was reverent. Among the many holy lands in the great world of desolate immortal, Divine Pill Holy Land was known for its relatively weak overall combat power. Their focus was on refining elixirs and using them to cultivate, not on developing earth-shattering offensive techniques. But that didn't make them pushovers. Alchemists were a highly respected profession. Many complex, rare, and specialized elixirs could only be created by them. Powerful individuals were often willing to go into debt to an alchemist for a single pill. This meant alchemists had extensive networks. Someone once ticked off a god-level alchemist, and before they knew it, they were facing a whole posse of void refinement stage heavy hitters. That was the terrifying thing about alchemists. One person equaled a formidable team, and that was before mentioning a behemoth like the Divine Pill Holy Land. Numerous powerful sects, holy lands, and even mighty immortal lords and immortal kings were indebted to them. Xiaoyue Holy Land, for example, owed Shendan Holy Land a few favors due to elixir needs. It wasn't an overstatement to say that Divine Pill Holy Land had connections throughout the entire wild immortal world. Why was the sect leader asking about this now? Xiaoyue felt a knot of apprehension tightening in her stomach. Ye Chen stroked his chin, lost in thought. After a moment, he said, "They must have a lot of alchemists. Surely they could spare a few for me." Xiaoyue thought she'd misheard him. What? He wanted Divine Pill Holy Land to assign him some alchemists. Was he kidding? Every alchemist there was painstakingly trained and considered invaluable. Why would they give any away? She blurted out, "Sect Master, Divine Pill Holy Land doesn't just hand over its alchemists, unless someone betrays the sect and is being hunted. If you need someone to help refine elixirs, you could request their assistance or invite them over. But hiring them is going to be extremely expensive." As a former leader of Xiaoyue Holy Land, Xiaoyue knew these rules well. Ye Chen didn't seem to be listening. Hire someone? Absolutely not. Kunlun Holy Land had all the necessary alchemy equipment, but only one alchemist, Li Yao, which was clearly not enough. Given the scale of Kunlun Holy Land's future growth, it was better to beef up the alchemy department first. Ignoring Xiaoyue's warnings, he tore open a rift in the void and stepped through. As the tear in space healed, Xiaoyue was left bewildered. Where had he gone? Was he heading to Divine Pill Holy Land? I hope he doesn't cause trouble. The Divine Pill Holy Land is tangled in so many webs. A misstep, and you could make enemies of the entire wild immortal world. Xiaoyue was anxious, judging by his actions in Luoyue realm. Ye Chen was definitely not one to keep the peace. Her gaze fell on the cup of tea Ye Chen had been drinking. He'd polished off almost the entire pot, leaving just a little dregs in the bottom. Xiaoyue glanced around guiltily, making sure she was alone. No one would see her secretly sipping the sect leader's leftover enlightenment tea. It's just the dregs anyway, the garbage that's about to be thrown out. What a waste to just toss it. Besides, I'm the sect leader's maid now, practically his servant. It shouldn't be a problem to have a taste of what he doesn't want. Xiaoyue desperately searched for justifications. After careful consideration, she couldn't resist the temptation of enlightenment tea. She carefully picked up the remaining half cup. The liquid was clear with a hint of green, with a fragrant aroma, with faint Taoist runes dancing within. Holding the cup with both hands, Xiaoyue carefully inhaled the aroma before taking a tentative sip with trembling lips. Boom! The moment the tea touched her tongue, she felt a mysterious sensation flood her body, drawing her closer to the great Tao of heaven and earth. Her eyes widened in surprise as she continued to savor the tea, leaving a faint lipstick stain on the rim of the cup. Chapter 47 Alchemist Conference, for Holy Masters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A small cup of tea wasn't something she could just gulp down, but she knew this stuff was too precious to waste. A tiny sip would have to do. Unbelievable. This is just leftover tea, so the effect should be half as strong, right? But it's still so potent. Xiaoyue was floored by the impact of that half sip of enlightenment tea. As the Holy Land's leader, she'd certainly had her share of enlightenment tea. She even hoarded a stash of leaves she was too reluctant to use, so she'd tasted the Kunlun Holy Land's tea, which was supposed to be the best. How can this be? The difference is night and day. Both are enlightenment teas, but this one is so much more powerful. Xiaoyue was baffled. Could it be about the age of the plant? The Kunlun Holy Land's enlightenment tea tree was older, so it made sense if its tea was better. Glancing at the leaves in the teapot, Xiaoyue plucked them out with her delicate fingers. Closing her eyes, she savored them, chewing slowly. She was going to soak up every last bit of flavor and benefit. After all, she was the first to taste tea that Ye Chen had sipped. Meanwhile, in central China, at the Divine Alchemy Holy Land, things were buzzing. They were hosting the Alchemist Conference, which had drawn in tons of famous alchemists from the wild immortal world. Those who came out on top would snag some serious prizes, like rare elixir recipes, top-of-the-line alchemy furnaces, powerful fairy fire, the kind of stuff alchemists drool over. Plus, if you impressed the right people, the holy lords from other holy lands might try to poach you with a killer offer. Basically, every alchemist saw this conference as their golden ticket to the big leagues. Up in an attic, some seriously powerful figures were kicking back with tea. These were the Holy Land lords who'd been invited by the Divine Pill Holy Land. A big guy in a dark blue robe covered in stars was the Starfall Holy Lord, head of the Starfall Holy Land. A middle-aged man radiating authority, with a third eye on his forehead, was the Sky Holy Lord, boss of the Sky Holy Land. And then there was the guy in the fancy gold dragon robe, oozing aristocratic vibes, the Xiaoyue Emperor, leader of the Xiaoyue Divine Dynasty. These were the heavy hitters of the wild immortal world. One wrong move by them could shake things up big time in central China. They'd all been invited to check out the Alchemist Conference. I'm seeing some real potential among the first-grade alchemists. They're young, talented, worth investing in. Yeah, with the right training, we could be looking at future master alchemists. Speaking of masters, a few of the 9th grade guys are looking sharp. They might even break through to the elixir master level within 1,000 years. The Holy Lords and the Emperor were having a blast critiquing the conference, and with their clout, who was going to tell them no? Alchemist rankings were strict. 1 was the lowest, 9 was the highest. A 9th grade alchemist was already a big deal. Holy Lands would pay through the nose to get them on staff, but what the Holy Lands really wanted was an elixir master. An elixir was beyond 9th grade, only someone at that level would get attention from true immortal types and the Holy Lands, and the alchemist who could whip up an elixir. That was an elixir master. Emperor Jiuli, the 9 Splits Holy Lord, and the Xingyan Holy Lord were mostly scoping out the 9th grade alchemists, hoping to snag a top talent for their own use. Listening to their chatter, a middle-aged man in a gray robe, sitting in the main seat, chuckled. You guys have a sharp eye, even if you're not alchemists yourselves. This was the Divine Pill Holy Lord, head honcho of the Divine Pill Holy Land. In a straight-up fight, he might not stand a chance against them, but when it came to alchemy, he was one of the best in the wild immortal world. Elixir masters were ranked 1 to 9, and the Divine Pill Holy Lord was a solid 7th grade. That meant even without his Holy Lord title, he could name his price anywhere. Emperor Jiuli let out a booming laugh. Hey, we're all greedy for top alchemists. I'd kill for a 7th grade elixir master like you. Exactly. Everyone knows you're deep into the alchemy game, Divine Pill Holy Lord. You've got the talent to go all the way to 9th grade. It's just a matter of time, right? The Xingyan Holy Lord chimed in with a grin. He knew it was a bit of an exaggeration, but the Divine Pill Holy Lord couldn't help but beam at the praise. Still, he knew where he stood. There were other 7th grade alchemists in the Holy Land, and plenty of 8th grade veterans. 9th grade elixir masters. Only the Immortal Emperors had reached that level. Unfortunately, the Divine Pill Holy Land's Immortal Emperors had already left the wild immortal world, searching for greater truths and maybe even a path beyond 9th grade elixirs. So, the Holy Land's highest-ranking alchemist right now was an 8th grade, followed by the 7th graders. These big shots were making small talk, but their words could shift the balance of power, unbeknownst to them. As the Alchemist Conference was in full swing, a handsome young guy in plain white clothes, with long black hair and a captivating face, had already slipped into the Divine Alchemy Holy Land. Normally, the powerful protective formation would tear apart anyone who wasn't invited, but his arrival didn't even trigger a blip. Even the heavy hitters inside were clueless. Looking down at the bustling scene, Ye Chen was impressed. This is quite the turnout, he murmured. He didn't bother counting, but there were at least 100 million alchemists there, from 1st to 9th grade. Ye Chen happened to overhear Emperor Jiuli's conversation and curiously asked, "Who's the best alchemist in your Divine Pill Holy Land?" Chapter 48. I want the alchemist. Please pack it up and take it away, thank you. You are listening at Novelful.audio. This sound was so natural, it was like Ye Chen had always been there. No one even registered his arrival. Down below, the Shendan Holy Masters were chatting away, totally oblivious. The Holy Master of Divine Alchemy, mid-sip of wine, chuckled. The old-timers are holed up in the back mountain, trying to level up to 9th level alchemy masters. Then, a beat. Something felt off. His wine glass froze. He stared at Emperor Jiuli, Holy Lord Splitting Kong, and Holy Lord Xingyan. That voice, it wasn't any of theirs. They looked just as puzzled. Had someone spoken? No one had, right? Who was talking? Realization dawned. All four snapped their heads up. A young guy in white, with a wild mane of black hair, was smiling down at them from way up in the sky. Turns out, he was the one who'd spoken. The four of them instantly went rigid. Their immortal power flared. Boom. *4 terrifying auras blasted skyward, like massive pillars, whipping up the clouds and twisting the very fabric of the atmosphere, messing with the natural flow of energy. The raw power of 4 Huangxian-level powerhouses unleashed. Their reaction was over the top. How could 4 big-shot Holy Land Masters be so clueless that an outsider could waltz right in? What really freaked them out? Shouldn't the sect's defense systems have kicked in the moment someone breached the Holy Land's borders? Why the total silence? The Holy Master's explosion of energy didn't go unnoticed. It wrecked the Alchemist Conference happening down below. Alchemists, deep in concentration, had their furnaces explode, turning their rare ingredients to ash. Some got hit with serious backlashes, coughing up blood all over their workspaces. What the heck's going on? Are we under attack? This is the Holy Land of Divine Pills. Who'd be crazy enough to attack us? Alchemists everywhere stopped what they were doing and looked up, in the sky, for figures crackled with power, warping the space around them, facing them, a young guy in white. It looked like the four masters were facing a serious threat. Some of the lower-level monks might not have recognized them, but plenty of the higher-ups knew that three of the holy masters were special guests at the Alchemist conference: Holy Lord of the Sky, Emperor Jiuli, and Holy Lord of the Starfall. Meaning, four holy masters were ganging up on one guy. Who is that dude? What's he doing in the Holy Land of Divine Pills? Judging by the way those four are looking at him, he's trouble. Who is important enough that all four holy lords are on high alert? Everyone was curious, confused, and even shocked by the white-clad figure. The four holy lords were practically gods to them, the ultimate power players in this world. Who could make them sweat like this? Holy Master Shenden's face was a mask of cold fury. As the host, how did his security systems fail so spectacularly? Worse, he had friends over. Now he looked like a joke. How could he ever show his face again? Who are you? How did you sneak into the Holy Land of Divine Pills? Holy Lord Shenden's voice boomed, laced with authority and menace, like the weight of the world pressing down. That was the power of a Holy Land leader. The alchemists below felt a wave of awe, a primal urge to kneel and worship. The weaker cultivators were already on the ground, shaking. Ye Chen grinned, his tone easy. Relax, guys. I just want to have a chat. You're the Holy Master of Divine Pills, right? Hook me up with some top-tier alchemists. I'm collecting. The Kunlun Holy Land wasn't into needless violence. It was uncivilized. Ye Chen hated it. He believed in diplomacy first, action second. As for slaughtering entire sects like Jinyu and Tiangang, hey, they started it. Kunlun Holy Land couldn't be blamed for that. Right? He didn't want to make enemies everywhere. Following the principles of friendly exchange, Ye Chen hoped to peacefully recruit some of the best alchemists, but Ye Chen's words made Holy Master Shenden's face turn purple. Some random stranger barges into the Holy Land and demands your best alchemists. Did he think he was some kind of all-powerful Immortal Emperor? That he could just take whatever he wanted? Buddy, I'm the Holy Master of Divine Pills, and I'm only going to say this once. You better not do anything rash. You don't want to incur the wrath of the Holy Land of Divine Pills. Trust me. Of all the holy places, the Holy Land of Divine Pill had the most clout to say that, if they declared Ye Chen an enemy, the whole wild immortal world would turn against him. Nobody wanted to become public enemy number one. At the same time, Holy Lord Splitting Kong, Lord Jiuli, and Holy Lord Xingyun were trying to get a read on this newcomer. What surprised them was that he didn't seem to radiate any power. They couldn't figure out what he was. Unbelievable. They were holy lords, apex Xianxian, practically unbeatable. There were very few people they couldn't see through. Could this young guy actually be some ancient monster? Had he reached the Immortal King realm? Or even higher? Immortal Emperor? That was impossible. They hadn't seen an Immortal Emperor, even from their own Holy Land, in ages. Had those senior Immortal Emperors all left the desolate immortal world for other realms? Who knew? The point was, this guy couldn't be an Immortal Emperor. All they knew for sure was that he was up to no good and that he was dangerous. Hey, no need to freak out just yet. Seeing the murderous glint in Holy Master Shenden's eyes, Ye Chen chuckled, all smiles. Anyone who didn't know better would think he was just a friendly, happy-go-lucky kid. Chapter 49 The Kirin Amethyst Fire is Mine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Like I said, I'm only taking a few top-notch alchemists with me today. It's not going to hurt your Divine Pill Holy Land, so there's no need to worry. Ye Chen kept his smile, appearing harmless. However, his words caused a stir. What's he even talking about? He wants to take alchemists from our Divine Pill Holy Land. Does he not realize that our alchemists are the foundation of this place? He's just trying to provoke us, barging into our territory and demanding people. It's like he's deliberately challenging the entire Holy Land. Who does he think he is? So audacious. But bravery won't save him here. With all four holy lords present, they could crush him without breaking a sweat. The alchemists below were stunned by Ye Chen's declaration. This was Divine Pill Holy Land territory, packed with powerful masters. Anyone who dared to cause trouble here was practically begging for death. Sure, he had guts, but guts wouldn't keep him alive. With the four holy lords here, he wasn't just facing the Divine Pill Holy Land, but also the sky-splitting Holy Land, the Jiuli dynasty, and the Starfall Holy Land. Facing all four at once? Who would be crazy enough to try? Many dismissed the young man in white as a joke. He might be strong, but his end would be brutal. Hearing Ye Chen's bold words and seeing his unyielding stance, almost as if he was doing the Holy Land a favor by not steamrolling them, the Holy Lord of Divine Pill's face darkened. Their Holy Land had stood for ages. No one had ever dared to push them around. This guy was delusional and arrogant. If you refuse to back down, then you'll stay here permanently. The Holy Master of Divine Alchemy's patience had snapped. In front of so many alchemists, he had to punish this intruder on the spot. Otherwise, outsiders would think their Holy Land's defenses were a joke. The Holy Lord of Divine Pill opened his palm, and a burst of purple flame erupted, instantly raising the temperature to scorching levels. The flames in the alchemy furnaces below seemed to bow down to their king, all tilting towards the purple fire in reverence. The sight electrified the alchemists. They instantly recognized the legendary fairy fire of the Holy Lord, the Kirin Amethyst flame. Legend had it that an Immortal Emperor from the Divine Pill Holy Land had brought back the Kirin Amethyst flame from another world. It was a flame obtained from the mythical Kirin. After cultivation and fusion within the Holy Land, it had become the Kirin Amethyst flame. This incredible fire could burn anything with a touch, plus, its alchemical applications were endless. For an alchemist, the Kirin Amethyst flame was the ultimate dream. Everyone's eyes widened. They never thought they'd see the Kirin Amethyst flame in their lifetime. It's the Kirin Amethyst flame. The Holy Master is getting serious. I can't wait to see what this thing can do. The other three holy lords were intrigued and impressed. The Kirin Amethyst fire surged, swirling in the air, transforming into 100-foot-tall amethyst Kirin. Intense heat radiated outwards, engulfing everything. Everyone felt like they were about to be incinerated. Urged on by the Holy Master, the amethyst flame Kirin roared, shook the earth, and charged towards Ye Chen. Each step left a footprint of purple flame in the air. The people below knew the amethyst flame Kirin wasn't targeting them, but the sheer force of its presence was almost unbearable. That's intense. Even I would have trouble blocking that without getting scorched. Emperor Jiuli's eyes gleamed with excitement, eager to test himself. Just because the Divine Pill Holy Land wasn't known for combat didn't mean they were pushovers. The other two holy lords nodded in agreement. No one could underestimate the Kirin Amethyst flame. The flames turned the world purple, yet Ye Chen didn't move. To everyone, he seemed frozen in fear, unable to retaliate. But just when they thought he had given up, Ye Chen casually reached out and grabbed the gigantic amethyst flame Kirin. His movement was nonchalant, lacking any dramatic flair, but the moment he reached out, the Kirin looked terrified and tried to stop. It sensed something unimaginably terrifying ahead. But its fear was meaningless in Ye Chen's grasp. The amethyst flame Kirin shrunk in size from some kind of compressing force until it was a harmless creature, the size of a fist. Ow! Ow! The little Kirin cried out in panic. Meanwhile, the Holy Master of Divine Pill coughed up blood from the backlash of his natal flame being ripped away. Ugh, my Kirin Amethyst flame. How could you? He was both shocked and enraged. The Kirin Amethyst flame was a symbol of his power, passed down with the title of Holy Lord. To lose the fairy fire was a disaster. But what he felt most was fear. What was Ye Chen's cultivation level? To strip away his natal flame with such ease? Not even a Xian, perhaps not even a Xian Jun, could achieve that. His strength severely diminished. The Holy Lord of Divine Pill slumped, defeated. He was in no condition to fight. The flame is gone. How could he just steal it? That's the Kirin Amethyst flame. An incredibly powerful fairy fire. One touch and you're ash. How did he get it? Are you kidding me? He just reached out and collected it. What just happened? Did the Holy Lord of Divine Pill hand him the flame? That's insane, the Holy Lord isn't an idiot. Everyone below was in shock, grabbing their heads, gasping for air, screaming with wide eyes. As far as they knew, the Holy Lord of Divine Pill was the strongest. The Kirin Amethyst flame, said to be capable of destroying worlds, was the fairy fire of everyone's dreams. Yet, in the blink of an eye, the immortal fire was gone, and the Holy Master defeated in a single move. Everyone was filled with shock and horror, their gazes toward Ye Chen had completely changed. Chapter 50 Backhand Suppression, that's it. You are listening at Overfulfilled. That guy is seriously strong. He took down the Divine Pill Holy Master with a single move, even suppressing the immortal fire, Kirin, and Amethyst flame. This level of power is off the charts. This dude came prepared. The other three Holy Masters were equally stunned by Ye Chen's incredible power. If they'd jumped in there, they wouldn't have fared much better. He's at the top of the Immortal Lords. Maybe even beyond. Emperor Xiaoyue looked grave. He and the others weren't much stronger than the Divine Pill Holy Master. Based on what Ye Chen just pulled off, grabbing the Kirin Amethyst flame would be a piece of cake for him, just a matter of knowing how. Who are you? And why are you causing trouble here? Even knowing he was outmatched, Emperor Xiaoyue stepped forward. Dragon energy surged from him, coalescing into a faint true dragon above his head. Holy Lord Splitting Kong chimed in, his voice icy, "You're clearly no weakling, so you must understand the consequences of being hunted by all four holy lands. Enough talk. I don't believe he can really make waves here alone." Holy Lord Starfall held a miniature starry sky in his hands, radiating a deadly aura. These holy landlords have been the cream of the crop since day one, practically invincible among their peers. Now that they've risen to power, they're not about to tolerate some upstart showing off. I'd advise you not to talk so much smack. You're just going to end up embarrassed. Ye Chen yawned, sounding totally bored. Holy Lord Starfall flew into a rage. What did you say? Are you calling me trash? Ye Chen waved his hands dismissively. Not just you. I'm saying everyone here is trash. That did it. Everyone around them was stunned. Did he just call all three holy lords trash? The holy lords were beyond pissed. No one had dared to talk to them like that in their entire lives. Anyone who dared to mock them as trash would meet a swift end. 9 sky-splitting strikes, divine injury. Destruction. Transformation. Holy Lord Splitting Kong unleashed the most powerful offensive secret technique of the Holy Land of the Sky. The world changed color as the strikes came down, shaking with thunderous force. Xiaoyue Dragon Emperor Qi. Emperor Xiaoyue followed suit with his own signature move. A true dragon aura spiraled through the air before charging at Ye Chen with deadly intent. Stars fall and die. Holy Lord Starfall raised his hand, summoning a vast starry sky that materialized out of thin air. Countless stars flickered, engulfing Ye Chen. The three holy lords attacked at once, unleashing a devastating combined force. Even the Holy Land's powerful protective formation strained under the relentless bombardment. Boom! The Holy Land shook violently, the earth trembling as if the world was about to end. Everyone was in shock. This white-robed youth had forced three holy lords to attack him at the same time. Talk about making a statement. Plus, the combined force of the three was far greater than any single holy lord. Their combined power would send even immortal kings at the 4th or 5th level running for the hills. How could this kid possibly stand up to an attack like that? Just when everyone thought Ye Chen would finally lose his cool and be defeated, he waved his hand in front of him, like swatting away flies. No one could see any magical power behind the gesture, but the three holy lords looked instantly terrified. The 9 sky-splitting strikes shattered against an invisible force. The Xiaoyue Dragon Emperor Qi dissipated before it could do anything. The starry sky that was forming and exploding imploded and vanished without a trace. Ye Chen had effortlessly defeated the three holy lords' techniques. They were in utter disbelief. Then, a much stronger force slammed into them with overwhelming momentum. Boom! .3 muffled sounds echoed as the three were sent flying backward, crashing through several floating islands before finally stopping. They had been defeated in a single move, leaving the onlookers stunned. These were three holy lords, the most powerful figures in the desolate immortal world, controlling unimaginable power and authority. Normally, even one of them was enough to awe and terrify people, but now, first, the divine pill holy master had his immortal fire stolen, then, the other three were repelled by a casual wave of the hand. Was this real? The four holy lords had been completely crushed. Everyone stared at the white-robed figure in the sky, their mouths agape, trying to comprehend his power. Was he really going to turn the divine pill holy land upside down? Looking at the four holy lords lying in the ruins, bloodied and defeated, Ye Chen shook his head. I told you, I came here to talk things out. But if you insist on fighting, I won't hesitate to take your lives. No one dared to doubt him. The state of the four holy lords made it clear he could have killed them if he wanted, but he'd held back. The commotion had already alerted the most powerful figures deep within the Holy Land. Faced with such a formidable enemy, the hidden elders of the divine pill Holy Land couldn't stay put. They woke and crossed space, appearing around Ye Chen. This time, the divine pill Holy Land had deployed 12 powerful immortal lords. This showed the true depth of a holy land. They formed a near-perfect encirclement around Ye Chen. Any wrong move, and all 12 would attack simultaneously, overwhelming him with force. Despite being surrounded, Ye Chen didn't seem fazed. Instead, he eyed the immortal lords with interest, wondering which one had the best alchemy skills. 12 immortal lords faced off against Ye Chen. The air crackled with tension, as if an earth-shattering war was about to erupt. But just as the people of the Holy Land were about to strike, an old voice echoed from the depths of the Holy Land. Everyone, hold back. This matter is not yours to resolve. Leave him to me. The voice seemed to descend from the heavens, carrying immense authority and charm. Anyone who heard it couldn't help but feel a surge of awe.